Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 5, where I'm going to talk about sales. I've been in sales for about 4 years now. I've had deals close in the five-figure range and anywhere just shy of $1 million. And I work for an ad agency out here in LA, where I basically help run their sales team and build out their business. And so I have a ton of experience being on hundreds of sales calls, talking to anywhere from directors to VPs to C suites, all the whole gambit. And I used to think sales was about trying to get something from someone else, of trying to schmooze and provide charisma and bravado to get something out of someone else. And when I started in sales, that's what I thought it was. And so every time I was on a call with a prospect, I would get nervous because I'm like, how am I going to try to get something from them? How do I perform in a way to get them to see the value within me and the value that I'm trying to provide them with my company? And it was basically this like narrative of like, I need to perform this song and dance for a client and to act like I know everything to get a client on board. And it took me a little bit of time to just be like, no, like that's not at all what sales is. And the thing I really started to focus on now is just how do I provide an insane amount of value to this client? And on the call, how can I be so incredibly present with what they're trying to tell me and what their needs are? And along with their needs, what are their fears? Because every objection is a fear, whether it's they're not going to hit their budget, whether that they're going to try a test with us and their colleagues are going to say something about their ability to work with a partner, right? They're looking at their own perspective of how they're viewed in the company and they don't want to make a mistake. So my job is to get to understand what those underlying fears are from each objection to get them onto the place where they feel comfortable enough and confident enough to move through. And it's not this guru song and dance that every sales guru out there is talking about of how you need to control the narrative, you need to do this, and you need to make sure you say these key phrases with this emotional charge back to it, set in this certain order and using a script. I could not agree any less. I think everyone who uses those tactics, every guru out there that you hear about that does door to door sales and does all these things, I believe it's all manipulation. At the end of the day, that is what they're doing. They're not selling, they're manipulating people. They're out there trying to get something from someone, not caring about the underlying fears. And so every guru influencer out there is trying to teach people sales from a very disingenuous point of view, and the way to get the easy buck by manipulating people and saying things in a certain order and doing the dance to get the deal over the line. Where I'm coming from is I'm like, how can I just treat every pitch just like a conversation? Very good. My strength is I can connect very deeply with people one on one. That is my greatest strength. And I don't know where it came from. It's just very natural. And so for me, every time I'm on a call, I try to get that energetic connection with someone where I'm connecting with them on a surface level and then also deep into the subconscious of where I'm connecting with them to feel the fears that they're experiencing, to see where they're coming from in any hesitations, objections, fears, anything that's not making them comfortable or confident in our ability, my company's ability to help them. And so my point of selling is how can I connect with the person deeper? How can I address everything that's coming up for them with the hesitations and the fears? How can I make them be seen, make them be heard, have them be felt and understood? That's my goal at the end of the day, is to make sure they are completely seen, heard, felt, and understood. And I'm not trying to do a tactic. I'm not trying to use a script. I think scripts are fine if you're new and you're trying to just have like a list of things to say and bullet points to say, fine. But when you get better at sales, and what all these guys don't tell you about is that you don't need a script when you get good at sales, because you already know the information and it can flow in a much more organic way. You don't need to control the narrative of the pacing and the tonality and what you're going to say and when you're going to say it and how to answer their questions in a way that's wrapping them into a box. It's like, yes, if the conversation goes to planet Pluto, you want to bring them back down and ground them back into the conversation. Yes, that's fine. But you don't need to do any of the manipulation aspects of it. So if you've noticed the conversation goes to planet Pluto, just, hey, bring them back down right here and re-ask the question again that you asked them in the first place. Because it's like me on this, I can go on tangents. I can go on just anywhere basically and just not have a clear linear path. That's fine. There's a way of doing it that is more beneficial in the long term of just forming a relationship with someone to form the relationship instead of just trying to get something out of them. I was literally on a sales call today where I was like, I don't think we have what you need, but let me help you get to where you need to go by just giving you all these contacts, by giving you this information. Maybe it'll help without any thought of like, oh, well, there goes the revenue, there goes the profit, there goes whatever. No, I'm just trying to help someone. It's just a conversation. And the way that I like to phrase it in sales is like, I'm not even selling someone. What you're trying to do in sales is you're guiding and shepherding them and come to the conclusion on their own of agreeing with you. And again, not from a place of manipulation, not from a place of trying to get something from them, of just asking questions, being so present with who you're speaking to that you start to guide and shepherd them along the way. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Fine. Drop it. Let it go. You don't need to cling to it. It's fine. That's the way I like to phrase it. It's like, how can I get them and guide them and shepherd them in a way so that they can see the answers that they're asking me for, right? I can give them as much information, and it's fine, but information usually goes over here or out your ears, right? I'm like, how can I get them to understand it deeper so it fits their unique needs? And for them to then relay it back to me so that they understand, not just in the conscious mind, but deeper. So it addresses all of the fears and the hesitations, the objections they have rooted deeply in the back. Because all of the fears and objections and all that, it is a surface level thing, but usually it's rooted deeper in the subconscious, right? Again, they say, we don't have enough budget. We don't have this. We don't have that. Well, what about this? What about this? It's usually what they think they're going to be perceived at internally if something goes wrong, and their fear of how people will judge them if something goes wrong, or how their boss will see them, or how their board will think about them. As we're guiding and shepherding these people along the way, there will be pushback, there will be objections, and it's how do you flow with them? Let them take the lead, let them flow. You don't need to have a set system and a set approach of what you're going to do for X, Y, and Z. Because the more you have that already pre-installed with a preconceived notion, the more the prospective client is seeing that and seeing the robotic, here's a response, here's a response, here's a response. Instead of how do you move with the client, let them take the lead, and you're just helping them along their own path to get to their own answer, right? And every objection, pushback, there isn't always like a black and a white type of thing. It's not like it's this or it's that. It's that or it's this. There usually is this like gray period where you can usually find a middle path to an answer without either side compromising. Does it happen all the time? No. But there usually is a path. And that's where I personally like to get creative enough to be like, okay, well, these people need this. This is what they're looking for. This is like a non-negotiable for me and my team and my company that we need out of this. I'm like, okay, well, there's all these different components and, pegs in the wheel. I'm like, how do we reorganize all of this to make it work and to drive through with that? And every time I can take that step back after a call to be creative about it, that's where things start really humming and going and finding the middle path where both sides are equally happy, but it looks different than what you thought it would be going into the deal. And that's what's really helped me. And that's what's helped me close, almost $1 million size deals. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't.